Anthropic just paid over $300 million not to build something new, but to take it away from OpenAI, Google, and Meta. This might be the most ruthless acquisition in AI history. A tiny 15-person startup called Stainless was quietly powering the developer tools for every major AI company, and Anthropic just bought them and shut the whole thing down. Let me explain why this changes everything. So who's the founder? So Alex Rattray studied economics at UPenn, but he taught himself how to code and landed a job at Stripe, one of the most developer-obsessed companies on the planet. At Stripe, he didn't just write code, he built their patented code generation system and designed their TypeScript API client, the gold standard that every developer loves. He essentially invented the playbook for world-class SDK developer experiences. After leaving Stripe in 2022, engineers kept reaching out to him saying, hey, can you build me our API? So Alex founded Stainless to do exactly that. Automate the creation of production-ready SDKs, no flashy background, no prior exits, just pure Stripe engineering DNA, and a vision to make every API feel as good as Stripe's. One thing I love about this founder, Alex, who founded this company, Stainless, and started for $300 million, is that he's somebody who doesn't have, like I mentioned, a flashy background. He has engineering experience that he learned on the job that he was able to perfect. And honestly, the courage, the boldness to take his experience as an engineer, what he offered Stripe, to do it himself. A lot of individuals say that they understand their value. They say, hey, I make $200,000 a year, that's great, and they get comfortable. I make $300,000 a year, that's great, and they get comfortable. He did just that. He reached that point in his engineering career where he was making $300K a year easily, but he still wanted more. He wanted more, not just financially, but more of an impact within the industry. So he left Stripe, built his own startup, and he only built it because people kept asking him to build it. So he had a demand, he understood what the pain points were, and he built it. And then he later sold it for $300 million. A beautiful, perfect example of how you can use your professional experience to turn it into a successful startup and even an exit. All right, so let's get into the actual product itself. So what is Stainless? What is this company that sold for $300 million to Anthropic? So Stainless is an AI-powered compiler that takes your API specifications and automatically generates production-ready SDKs in Python, TypeScript, Kotlin, Go, and Java, plus command line interfaces and MCP servers. So this isn't some hacky code generator. This is the infrastructure that OpenAI used for the official Python and JavaScript SDKs. Google Gemini used it, Cloudflare used it, Meta used it, and here's the kicker, Anthropic also used it. Every single official Claude SDK that was generated by Stainless, the company they acquired. So think about that. The entire AI industry developer experience was running on this one tiny startup platform. When developers integrated GPT or Gemini or Claude into their apps, they were using Stainless generated code without even knowing it. That's the definition of critical infrastructure. This here is a beautiful example of how a company, a startup, was able to be of such value that every single big guy within AI was using it. Like I mentioned, Anthropic, OpenAI, Cloudflare, Gemini, they all used Stainless, this startup that was acquired for $300 million, to simply build out the SDKs for developers to use. Now, why is this such a big deal? If you're somebody who's not an engineer, I'm an engineer, that's my background, it's really hard to comprehend what this acquisition means. When somebody builds APIs, in this case, an AI company builds APIs to sell to others to be able to consume, right? OpenAI, for example, they have APIs that they give to other individuals who want to be founders, who want to be engineers, who just want to play around with AI tools to create a wrapper. And I know one of the big things that you see nowadays is there's these AI wrappers. How are these wrappers created? It's created because of these API SDKs that they consume in their own product. So a good example of that would be like, let's say we have a PDF AI wrapper. We use a few LLMs, but we chose to use the OpenAI API to be able to build this PDF wrapper. And let's say that wrapper is making us $10,000 a month by us using OpenAI API, and we pay OpenAI $500 a month to be able to utilize the API. The API doesn't exist unless it's made public and it's easy to consume. That's exactly what Stainless did. They helped these AI providers create that infrastructure of generating APIs and SDKs in different programming languages: TypeScript, Python, Kotlin, Golang, Java. They simply created the generator for these APIs, SDKs for the world to use. Think about, y'all don't understand how big of a deal this is. They literally created the infrastructure and Anthropic acquired them. OpenAI has to be concerned because most of their money comes from developers, engineers consuming their APIs. This is big. All right, let's talk about the numbers. The deal, like I mentioned, was worth $300 million for a 4-year-old company with 15 employees. So that's about $20 million per person. Stainless was backed by venture capital firms like Sequoia Capital and A16Z. The exact funding amount was not disclosed, but what matters is the multiple. In the past, we talk about talent acquisitions. This wasn't that. This wasn't a standard talent acquisition. This was Anthropic paying a premium to control a strategic checkpoint. They're not just buying the technology, they're removing it from the market entirely. All hosted Stainless products are being shut down. OpenAI, Google, Cloudflare, and Meta now have to scramble to rebuild or find alternatives. I think a good example to break down what this acquisition means: Anthropic buying the startup called Stainless for $300 million. Stainless offers an infrastructure product for OpenAI, Gemini, Meta, all of these different AI providers, these AI big guys. Because Anthropic acquired Stainless, they now own that infrastructure. Here's the example. Let's say that there's a lemonade stand business that I own, and it's called Lemonade Stand A. You own Lemonade Stand B. Somebody else might own Lemonade Stand C. We all sell lemonade. It might be at different prices, of course, but we sell lemonade. In order to get the lemons to make the lemonade, we go to a completely different provider that distributes the lemons at a price of 50 cents per lemon. We all use that distributor. But let's say me, Lemonade Stand A, is like, hey, you know what? I'm tired of the competition. I'm tired of not being able to have control of the pricing of the lemons. I'm going to go ahead and make this huge bet and acquire the distributor. I'm acquiring the lemonade provider. So all of the lemons that are made within whatever country, we now own. So what does that mean? Two things. I can either raise the price of lemons, meaning company Lemonade Stand B and Lemonade Stand C would now have to pay me. Or this is what Anthropic did, which is actually brutal. They said, I'm going to just shut that shit down. I'm just going to shut the lemon distribution company down, and I'm going to own it. So we got to get all the lemons, and those competition that we had, Lemonade Stand C and B, they're going to have to figure it out. That's exactly what this acquisition means. But in terms of AI, they own the infrastructure, they shut it down. Meta, OpenAI has to figure out what's happening. All right, so what's next? So Alex, Rattray, and the Stainless team, all 15 of them, are now full-time Anthropic employees. And they're focused on pushing Claude's agentic developer experience even further. Expect to see major improvements in the Claude's API tooling, better SDKs, and a deeper integration. For OpenAI, Google, expect to see job postings for SDK developers and engineers. The acquisition just reset the developer tools arm race, and a lot of them are going to be running around like a chicken with their head cut off. All right, so here is the part where I like to make a quick breakdown of what might happen in the future post-acquisition. Sometimes it's related to it, sometimes it's not. But for this one specifically, I think what's going to happen in the future is OpenAI might try to sue Anthropic for this acquisition. And I think the reason they're going to want to sue Anthropic is going to be because of the monopoly play, taking control of an industry, dependency, and shutting it down entirely. I wouldn't be surprised if Sam Altman is to take Anthropic to court and say, hey, you guys acquired this company with the intentions of shutting it down, which impacts us directly as well as others in the market. I don't know. That's my job. That's my assumption. I just think they might go ahead with the legal play with this type of acquisition, but we'll see. All right, folks, if you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like and subscribe. Here's another acquisition, one of the biggest ones within the AI industry so far, because all of the money, most of the money, is made because of the developer experience. And being able to own the developer experience and take it away from your competition is a huge deal. So OpenAI, good luck. Anthropic, shit, you did your thing. Make sure to hit that like, add your comments down below what you think.